By far the most consequential theory of the self to emerge in classical times was the theory advanced by Plato in his dialogue, the Phaedo, which is about the day that Socrates died in jail, the conversation that took place in the jail cell. And Plato's concern in that dialogue is with the question of whether a person can survive his bodily death. And Socrates, one of the main characters in the dialogue, makes the case that a person can survive his bodily death by arguing that what we are composite beings who have a material part and an immaterial part. And the immaterial part, our souls, is what we essentially are. And since this part is a simple part, has no parts, it can't go away, can't cease to exist, and in fact it can't even begin to exist. Only composite beings can either begin to exist or cease to exist. So the soul, in virtue of being an immaterial substance in its own right, is immortal. The reason this view is so consequential, of course, is that the church, Christian church, ultimately adopted it as its official view in the 3rd century and beyond, and that accounts for its influence. The second view that was very consequential, but not quite so much in modern times, was a view of Aristotle's. Aristotle, unlike Plato, didn't have a dualistic view of nature. It wasn't that things were divided into material substances and immaterial substances. For the most part, Aristotle's view was monistic, but he was interested in not so much in whether people can survive their bodily deaths as he was in what is it that makes something a living thing. And Aristotle's idea was that all living things, vegetables, non-human animals, and humans, are a composite of form and matter. And the kind of form that a thing has determines what its status is as a living thing. And so the soul of Aristotle is a formal property of material human beings. Matter individuates us from one another, but all of us are humans and we all have that same form, that same character or nature as a human being, and that's why we're alive and have the characteristics that we have. Okay. Now the other view that's worth mentioning from classical times, and I think I'm probably pressing on my 5-minute limit here, are the materialistic atomists. So Leucippus and Democritus were the originators of this view, and this is basically just the idea that all of reality is made out of indivisible material atoms, and that the various things that we see when we look around are composites of these atoms in various arrangements. And when the atoms come together in such a way as to make an individual like you or I that stays around long enough to deserve a name, then that person is a living human being and has a material soul, a psyche that sort of accompanies or is part of his being a living human being. Once we die and the atoms come apart, then that's the end of us. Maybe that's enough for classical conceptions of the self. The patristic period, when the church fathers got together and tried to come up with the theology for Christianity, began by people being materialists. The original church fathers were materialists, and they were trying to work out a theology for Christianity based on Stoicism, which is a materialistic atomist view. But then ultimately Plato entered the fray, and the neo-platonists won the day, and the church fathers who were most influential, starting with Origen and then ending with Augustine, endorsed sort of a neo-Platonic view of the self, according to which we have an immaterial part and a material part, and that turned out to be the influential one for European philosophy.